Hello YouTube, so my name is Fiora, and I have a series on TikTok with old League of Legends, where I just talk about things that League has changed over the years. So they're all under a minute long, so I'm going to be posting them in parts of 10 here, so here is parts 1 through 10. Anybody else remember the rune pages, that like the old rune pages, where you had runes and then you had masteries, and you had to buy separate rune pages, and it mattered that you had separate rune pages, and then you had separate, or you bought separate runes from each other. Okay, well, does anybody else, like, remember that 1% crit chance? Because I miss my 1% crit chance. Except for when I was helping my ADC CS under tower, and then I would fuck up the CS because I would just randomly crit. Okay, so you guys like reminiscing about old League of Legends. So, do you guys remember Soraka pre-rework? You know, where you could heal yourself with your W, and then you could just point and click silence people? Because I miss that. She was OP as a support, and it was kind of dumb. You could take her into solo lanes, and then just like, if you built AP, your silence did a crap ton of damage for no reason. And then, like, they couldn't use abilities on you because, you know, they're silenced, and, you know, your Q had MR and armor reduction, so, like, you were dealing more damage the more you hit them. So you guys seem to really like this. I'm going to turn it into a series, so this is going to be part 3 of things that League of Legends changed. So does anybody else remember, like, pre-rework Fiora, where you would just press R, and you would deal an insane amount of damage and then just be full health? Well, pretty much her R was it attacked 6 times and you were untargetable, and they counted these attacks as auto attacks. So you would just build 3 Bloodthirsters because they didn't count these as unique passives, and then you would also build a Tiamat because it counted as an auto attack, so it procced and did AoE damage. So you would be really low at the end of a fight, and then all of a sudden you just press R, be full health, and kill the enemy team. You know, I miss being able to point and click on champions. So here's part 4 of old things in League of Legends. So this one isn't necessarily a rework or something taken out of League. This one's just a game mode that I miss, and it's Doom bots. If you've ever gone against like regular bots, so like easy, intermediate, hard, they're super easy. But Doom bots, they were bots on crack. So take Lux for example. You know, Lux has her regular binding. Well, in Doom bots, if the bot was to throw out a Lux binding, it would throw out 20 bindings in a circle around Lux. And they also had like a bunch of random stuff, like there was a Garen in the bush, or the bushes were on fire, and it was just a lot of fun, and it felt really satisfying to tell people that you beat hard Doom bots, just because it was extremely hard to beat them, and I just wish they would bring back Doom bots. Okay, so this is part 5 of like old things from League of Legends. So do you remember like pre-rework Sion? And do you remember going AP pre-rework Sion? Where you would build Deathfire Grasp, which is an item that kind of works just like RE Charm, where if you used it, the person has increased magic damage done to them. It was very strong for burst mages. So what you would do is you would use your point and click stun, and then you would charge up your shield, and then you would use the Deathfire Grasp, and then hit them with your shield. Now, your stun and your shield both scale off of AP, and it is a scaling percent of 90%. So pretty much, you were just doing true damage of magic damage to them. They were just gone. So, yeah, I kind of miss having champions simple like that. Okay, so if you've played League of Legends long enough, so you might know that there's a few, like, little hidden interactions, or Easter eggs you may call them, in the game. So, there's, like, an interaction between Volibear and Zillion, or if you do one with, like, say, Leona with either Zyra, Maokai, or Ivern, like, they'll grow a little bit if they hit them, or if Leona hits them with her ult, because, you know, sunshine and plants. One of the interactions that I kind of miss is, this unit is a flippin' ninja. I just miss seeing that at the bottom. So what that was you had the champion Shen, Akali, Zed, and Kennen, you know, the ninjas that are the same in TFT, and they would have, like, that little box at the bottom that says, this unit is a flippin' ninja. So pretty much, if you had 2 ninjas on your team, it would subtract their health by, like, 1 HP. Unless you had the corresponding, like, nurse or doctor skins. And the reasoning behind that is just because ninjas should work alone. And I kind of miss having stuff like that. So I don't know how many of you guys played support back in the day, but if you do you remember when you relied on your ADC to CS well in order to get gold? So for those of you guys who don't know, there weren't support items where you could hit an enemy or you killed a minion in order to get gold. you relied on how well your ADC CS'd in order to get gold. You had to take a mastery when the masteries were separate from runes, and I made a separate video on that, that said that whenever an ally killed a minion in lane, you got +1 gold. So you only got that +1 gold when your ADC killed a minion. Imagine how bad that felt for me when I was bronze. And remember, iron did not exist back then. So I was the lowest of the low. I was always poor. So does anybody remember when turrets used to shoot out lasers? Well, if you don't, or you didn't play back then, this is around like Season 5, Season 6, and think about like the fountain laser. It was pretty much that, except it also slowed you in addition to shooting a laser at you constantly. So they put this on the Inhib and the Nexus turret, and the idea was to keep you from turret diving and to make it more, like, I don't know, you had to know what you were doing. But all it did was keep people from diving because you were pretty much guaranteed to die because it did so much damage to you. So games were consistently going on for over an hour, which they don't now, thank God. But if you've never played a game for over an hour, it is the worst feeling in the world. One mistake and, you know, you just wasted an hour of your time if you lost. So does anybody else remember, like, Nidalee's old spears? And they're really not different from how they are now, but what you would do is you would throw the spear and you would walk backwards, because now it's based off of how much distance the spear's traveled. What it used to be was it's how much distance between the spear and your champion model. So you would throw the spear and then you would walk backwards and it would do more damage. And, you know, I kind of miss, you know, I really don't miss old Nidalee. Old Nidalee kind of sucked. I mean, you didn't get your ult until you were level 6, so you were kind of just QWE in human form, and that's it until you hit level 6. You didn't get the jump when you hit people with the spear or with your traps. You just you were just sad. Hey, so does anybody remember Twisted Treeline? So for those of you who don't know, Twisted Treeline was kind of like Summoner's Rift, except it was a 3v3 map. So you had 2 lanes instead of 3, and you did have a jungle. So the point of it was to, you know, defeat the Nexus. And it did have a Baron, except it wasn't Baron. It was called Vilemaw. It was like a giant spider. And, I kind of miss playing Twisted Treeline. It was a lot of fun. Twisted Treeline had, like, its own meta. It had its own items, similar to how ARAM has its own items. It was really fun to just, you know, play Twisted Treeline to get away from Summoner's Rift. People didn't care about Twisted Treeline quite as much, unless you got into, like, the high elos. It was really easy for people to get into Challenger with that, so they would get, like, Challenger perks. So, kind of bummed that they took Twisted Treeline out.